Welcome to Jollof and Fiction, home of African literature and stories, the kind that warm your heart like a fresh pot of jollof. Today, you're tuning into a recorded session of our online book discussion, so sit back, relax, and join the conversation.
Nigeria, right? And things operate differently. And I think I have something to say in regards to the systems of this country, the way it functions, and a lot of dysfunctionalities we see in our society, because a lot of things are going wrong. Like, this story just opened my eyes to a lot of misplaced priorities we have as a nation. So, but before we get to that, you made a very valid point. And I think what drove him, he did say he loved his brothers, but like you said, it was more of guilt from not even being able to do anything, guilt from the fact that he felt like if he stayed away, I mean, how can I move on when my brothers just died like that and the one who killed them is out there and all that. But guilt is also a very, very terrible thing, aside fear. So thank you, and let's move on to the next question I have. So my next question is this. I'll be pasting it on the chat box. Do you believe the prophecy caused the tragedy, or did the brothers believe in it to make it come true? Can belief be more dangerous than reality? I think we've seen this play out a lot of times in life, and I do have my reservations about this, but I would like to hear what you guys think. Do you really think that this thing would have happened if the brothers were not as scared, if Ikenna had not acted the way he acted? Do you think, and then generally in life, do you think like these things that happen out of what you believe, do you think they are brought to life by what you believe in? So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, who raised their hand? Okay, Lambert raised her hand. So let's hear from you, Lambert.
Thank you. I definitely knew that you would ask this question. And I already had an answer ready in my heart. I think that for the most part, your reception of the prophecy or whatever is told to you matters more than the prophecy told to you. It's just like that popular story. I don't know if you guys have heard it, that two people went to see a spiritualist, and then he told one that he would end up very rich and famous, and he told the other that he would die a poor broke man. The both of them went away. The one that was told that he would end up very rich and famous just went to chill in his house and say, one day I'll be rich and famous. And then the one that was told that he would die poor and broke now said, if I would die poor and broke, I might as well die trying. And began to work, farm, apply for gigs and deals, did everything. Literally, the prophecy reversed at the end of their lives, literally. So I think that how you receive it even matters more than what was said to you. Even though as a Christian, I do believe in the paranormal, the supernatural forces unseen. But how you receive it matters so much. It's just like maybe in boarding school, there is so much fear, so much intense fear of all the stories of genes and Miss Coin, so much fear. Those stories keep passed down and down. I think what is even given and what gives credence to those things that people think they are hearing and seeing and further spreading the story is the very fear, not the thing themselves. It's just like when you go to diaspora, there is less of activities of paranormal as we see in Nigerian crusades or something like that. Why? Because of belief. They don't believe it as much as Africans do. So I think that yes, the unseen is there, but your perception of it is the key thing. You see somebody that will tell him that his mother, he may go to a false prophet or somebody that will just scatter his family and tell him that his mother is a witch or his mother is killing him. He will just hate his mother and abandon his mother. Another person may say, okay, even if she's a witch, she will never actually kill me and my own blood. I believe that 90% it is reception, how you received it.
Thank you so much, Lambert. You've said a lot. You even delved into a question I reserved for later. You just mentioned something about it. Thank you so much. And I really do agree with you on that. So let me hear from other people before I say what I have in mind to say, though. But thank you so much. Your points were like really vastly what I had in my mind to say. So who who raised their hand next? Like, I don't know, between Joanne and Daniel. Okay, let's hear from Daniel and then Joanne, and then we'll hear from Mokut. Okay, Joanne's hand's never raised again. Let's hear from Daniel. Daniel, we can hear from you. Mute your mic and speak.
Good evening, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, from the question left to me, I feel like belief has an important role to play because, as Lambert said, the way you receive words that come to you matters a lot. So,
Yeah.
left for me, I think that if Ikena had, like, how will I put it now? Like, left to me, I think if he had just like fashioned the talk, like he just like freestyle the talk, like I believe that the impact it really had on him will not be that much as it had on him. So that's me. I think that belief has an important role to play than reality. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Daniel. Um, Ikenna, I would say his problem had a root cause, right? There's a root cause to why he acted out, why I believe he acted out. But I'll get to that. So before that, let me hear from Mokut. Mokut, let's hear from you, please. Hi, Mokut, can you hear me? Kindly unmute your mic and speak if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can
All
hear.
right.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So I've not read the book. Hectic week.
Oh, I think Mokut got disconnected. Joanne, your hand was raised at some point. You still want to say something? Okay, Mokut is back.
Yeah, my phone is acting up a little. I've not read the book, but I just want to pounce on what Tehila said. Something Tehila said. She said that when Nigerians go abroad, there's less dependency on the paranormal because people abroad don't believe. And I just want to say that I don't think that is a fallacy. That's a very fallacious statement because I have read multiple books where people abroad believe in the workings of the Holy Spirit and angels and all of that. I genuinely think the best possible way to put it is that when people move to a functional society, to a society where they are not scared that their certificate is not enough or like what they are is not enough, then like
I think Mokut left again. All right. Oh. Okay. So before while we wait for Mokut is back. All right. So can you continue?
sorry, my phone is acting. But I'm going to talk faster. So I just want to say that I feel like we in Nigeria believe on like where we're really, really, really extremely focused on the spiritual, like prophecies and things like that, because it is a means of survival. I see it as a means of survival, like something to look forward to. Some like it's hope. It's like a beacon. Like at least I have like what this man of God in quote has said. So like if I can like just focus my energy on all of that, then maybe like life will align for me. You get, but like I don't think I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying. It's not that people outside the country, outside Nigeria and after Africa are not like do not believe in the spiritual. I feel like we are hyper focused on things like that. And I genuinely believe that if you believe in yourself enough, like okay, less activities because they believe in themselves and they have a system that assists them to believe in themselves. Like, let me just put for example, I have a friend, we finished secondary school together. He finished last year from Howard. He got a job during his internship. The company he works for cleared out his student's loan and offered him employment. This year he's earning enough money, he got a car. He's 20. Like, who does that in Nigeria? In Nigeria, you pray your way through school, pray your way through missing scripts, pray your way through lecturers, constantly believing and hanging on to something of a miracle to graduate from school. Talk less of like going through life. Like, whenever I like hear, read books or like have like listen to people like tell like this kind of conversations, I'm like, It deeply saddens me how backwards we are as a society. That, like, you guys, it's really sad. It's really sad when authors have to write things like this. It's really really sad when, like, these are real things, real societal issues. Like, I don't know, Sha, but anyway, that's just what I wanted to say. Thanks, sorry for yammering.
All right. Thank you so much, Mokut. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly the words Tahila used, but I think what she was saying is that if it happened in a more open-minded society, it probably wouldn't be like this. I think that was what I understood from her statement, and that was what made me say that yes, she already delved into a question I had, because I had a question reserved for the ending, which was going to be: do you think if this happened like in a more open-minded society, not just open-minded, like if you think at times Nigeria, if this happened like somewhere like in the USA now, and a mad guy, a psychiatric guy comes in the psychiatric hospital, tells you that this is going to happen to you, do you think you're going to take him seriously? Do you think this would have been an issue? So I think what she was kind of like trying to say is that the place, because we're talking about everything that contributed to the prophecy, the people, the person it happened to, the place, every single person, every single circumstance contributed to the outcome from this said prophecy. So that's what I think she was trying to say. I don't know, Tahila, did I say what you meant? So, all right. If anyone else has something to say about this, I don't know, but let's move on to the next question. So my next question is, okay, I have a question about Nigeria as regards to this story, so I'm going to paste it in the chat box. So my next question is, I'm so sorry, I mistakenly left the call. Okay, so I have a question. The things on the chat box were already even erased and I can't even see them again. Okay, so in what ways does the story of the four brothers mirror the state of Nigeria at the time? Does the breakdown of the family reflect the breakdown of the nation? So what do you think about this? Okay, initially I was going to say about the previous question I asked, which was, do you think words have power? I do think that your belief is really important. And like Tahila said, how you receive an information is way more important than what was conveyed to you. Because even the Bible said, Job, the Bible, the popular guy who was inflicted with a lot of wounds and all in the Bible, what happened to him? His fear. We never got to realize that it was the things he feared the most that eventually happened. And sometimes out of fear, we begin to take actions. I personally believe that if Ikenna did not act that way, maybe this thing wouldn't have happened. Even if it would have happened, it would have been later in the future, not as soon as it did happen. I think the fear was what made him begin to try to protect himself, and he went about it the wrong way. And I'm actually trying to imagine if I was the one now that they told that, oh, your sibling is going to kill you, blah blah blah, stuff like that. What would I do? I think I'll try to like even try to prove that wrong by getting closer to that sibling, sharing more bonds and everything, and even telling myself that if in eventuality this thing happens in the future, it's going to be as a mistake, not as. And you could see how the fear ate deep into his mind, that he began to see, he even began to see what happened as a child when they were 4 years old, when he threw away his passports, as part of the reasons why yes he would actually want to kill him. And then even he haven't stood up for him that time, suddenly saw it as as an evil crime committed against him. And also fear is actually a very very bad thing. So over to the question I just asked. I said, in what ways does the story of the four brothers mirror the state of Nigeria at the time? Does the breakdown of the family reflect the breakdown of the nation? So yes, please, if you have something to say, kindly raise your hand and speak. I'd like to hear from people I've not heard before. Mesoma, I have not heard from you, and we've read the book. So can you say something about the question I just asked? I've also not heard from Margaret and Young and Treasure. Hi, Mesoma, are you there? Can you guys hear me? Hello. Hi. Can you hear me? Okay. 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 So I can't hear Miss Omar. She's probably busy. Okay, Margaret, let's hear from you. What do you have to say about the book? You've read the book because I could see you on the poll. So what do you have to say about the next question I asked? Hi, Margaret. Can you help us? Can you say something? Dara, have you read the book? Why is everybody mute? Cause like why?
Hello? Sorry. Good evening.
Hi, good
Can
evening.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay. So, sorry. I don't know where I am now, but the okay. So I feel like these four siblings refer to a very strong government, and then the it's very simple. Once there is a little like Ikena, the way he started reacting, you see that at the end of the day, everybody's confused, everybody's fine. If it's not that two people are ganging up against each other, the way they left Ben and his other brother, they were now closer, and then from closer, the two brothers died, and then he want to avenge, and then somehow he had to impose it on Ben that if you didn't do this before we go to Canada, then the brothers will not be avenged and all. And then the dad too also tried to kill the madman because they just wanted to eradicate the source of their problems per se. And you see that from trying to do this, the sons took it upon themselves, the father took it upon himself. He didn't even tell his wife. There was no communication. But if it was discussed as a family, you see that the wife too would might also want to have killed the madman because these are her first two children, are boys. So she would have also felt the same way. And then he goes and the madman pours something on him, and then he says it's cataract that he went to go and do operation. So one way or the other too, it shows, it reflects because if one thing happens, if they say is person that invites termite a bit three to use, I don't know how they use and speak it, but something about tree and termite is one termite that can destroy a whole tree, can destroy a whole house.
All right, thank you, Omar. Thank you for that. I think communication was a very big problem in the household. And in relation to the question I asked, I think yes, it reminds me of the book we read. Was it last week? The one about that was Chino Acheb's book, right? Anthills of the Savannah, where the three friends were suspecting each other. Suspicion does a lot. Suspicion really does a lot to people, and people don't even know. So that's actually like a different thing altogether. So let's hear from Divine. Divine, do you have something to say about this?
Okay, you were asking about the relationship, the story of the story of the brothers has with Nigeria as we are living in it today. And I just thought of the pre-civil war time when riots broke out, when this case started. I don't think anybody can really put place a finger on what actually caused the unrest, but it's almost like it has always been like every tribe, every part of the country is trying to protect its own interest and thinks that other parts of the country are out for it and out for that its own part. The north is protecting its interest, and it feels like other parts of the country are against it. Same for the south, same for the east. And it is why we argue that, oh, Nigeria, we're not supposed to be together. this country is not supposed to be as um multifaceted as it is. But even then, there was a time where everybody was living in harmony, right? So what happened? What was the seed that was sown that made everybody turn on each other? So I think that was what I thought of in relation to the book, and how the brothers, like Ikenna, was thinking that his brothers were out to get him. Thank you.
Stopped sharing. Okay, yeah, you're done. All right, thank you. And yes, you said something that actually called my attention to what actually happened. Do you get what happened? In the beginning, everybody, yes, they were Nigerian, they were Igbos, they were Hausas, Yorubas, and all that, but they were all living together, right? And then at some point, people started clamoring to become different from each other. They wanted to stay away from the other. Their minds became poisoned. These people felt the other people were not deserving of their unity and stuff like that. And before you even knew it, a civil war broke out. And that was exactly what we saw happen here. Just a mere word. So what happened? Could it be that something like that took deep roots in our country some time ago? Well, yes. I remember my government notes now when let me not bore you with that. That's a very long lecture. I actually think I remember what started, the whole problem between Nigerians, Igbos, Yorubas, and stuff when they went for it started when they went to ask for independence, I think in 1957. So Nigeria's independence would have come before 1960, but a group, I think, which was the Hausa, said that they were not ready yet. The Igbos said they were ready. So stuff like that was the problem. That was where it all started from. So, but I to this question, what I have to say is that I think we could see Nigeria reflected in a lot of ways. It lacked structure. Even the structure, the so-called structure that was built by the British was ruined. Immediately power was transferred to Nigerians. Take, for example, their father was strict. Everything was okay when he was around, right? He had a way of maintaining order in his family. The moment he decided that, I am leaving to Yola, and even though against his wife's pleas, he moved to Yola without taking them along, neither did he decide to stay back. Everything started turning around. I don't know if the father would have been able to control Ikenna when the whole incident of the killing started. But let's not forget that them going to the fishing, whatever, in the first place was as a result of their father's absence. And once again, we see what the absence of a parent in a child's life can do. So all these things started from absence. So we could see how, Nigeria became a mess just by transferring power to we Nigerians, and everything became, So I really think it has a lot to say about Nigeria. Even the way the whole issue was handled. I mean, sending a young boy to jail. The madman had done a lot of harm. He had even raped a dead body. I mean, a country where a death of a person is not enough to call them to respond quickly and take off a dead person's body out of the road, had the mind to jail an 8-year-old boy, or was it a 10-year-old boy, for killing a madman who had caused a lot of havoc on the society. It says a lot about who we are, the kind of structures we have in place as a country. So I think this book was a way, and when I read the acknowledgements, the author said something about him trying to tell a story of the times of Biafra, the MKO Abiola regime, the 1993 election and all. And you could see how, I have a lot to say, but I don't know. Lambert, let's hear from you.
Thank you so much. I was just saying that you finally touched some sensitive wounds about this book. From the beginning, I was so angry at the father. In fact, I was angry at everybody in this book. I was just saying, burn everybody, jail everybody. What a circus, what a madhouse. So the life of a madman who has caused more harm than good and who has destroyed so many families is worth more than the life of these boys. You should be beating them. You shouldn't be prosecuting them. What kind of a madhouse is this? How can this madman die and you are looking for who killed him? Why should you give a damn who killed him in the first place? With all that he has done, the book really, really annoyed me. Then I was so angry at the father. He was an absent dad, like, and being too strict and emotionally absent is not the perfect parental hack a lot of Africans think it is.
Oh,
Because your child needs you to be emotionally present no matter how tough of a dad you are. And then he just left 4 grown-up boys with their hormones and wild teenage stage with a nursing mother. I was so angry at the father. And then he will always act as if he knows what his children needs. Even after the remaining boys just lost their brother, he just assumed he knows what they need. Started looking for Canadian visa, wanted to make their external environment better. It was always about their external environment. These guys just
not
lost
about
their brother.
himself. Like,
Like,
do you,
give them a hug, love them so much, don't let them out of your sight. But even after such a tragedy, they were still absent parents. This one went to work, this one went back to go and be looking for visa. Did you check how your children are doing that just lost their closest friends in the place of their brothers? I was angry at everybody in this book, the soldiers that were looking for innocent boys, and then they just put them in prison. Innocent boys. How come? I thought that in law there is such a thing where you can plead a case of motive as psychological breakdown or trauma, something like that.
do you get? I was expecting that in this book, but I didn't
Yes.
see it.
Because did nobody come forward to say that this guy, this madman did this? This was prompted by trauma. They were jailing that boy as if he was a 25-year-old that committed cold blood murder. It pained me so much. I was just angry. It's well,
I don't
it's
know.
really, really well.
Like, at some point, I had to like
Everybody
tell
in that
myself,
Akure was very mad at the time of this book. Very, very mad. A madman that was such a nuisance to society was still allowed to be alive. I thought they would even take matters to their own hand and kill him long before the boys did.
you know, I think, thank you so much, Tahila. And I really think the moment where I understood that these guys were crazy was the time where someone wanted to take the madman to a psychiatric hospital. And then someone said, no, they said, no, if you take him to the hospital, then he will get well and he will lose his ability to actually foretell the future. I was like, what kind of people is this? That was like the beginning. And then also when it comes to the father, the father was just not it for me. I'm sorry, but if I had that kind of husband, I will divorce him, because what kind of father are you? He was not even there for his wife emotionally. Okay, your children die. I've seen situations, I've read books, I've watched movies where the loss of a child can actually split a home, and I was even surprised. I don't know, I wasn't actually surprised, because this is a Nigerian home. Nigerian women know how to stay through tragedies very well. It's their fault. So this woman in question lost 2 grown-up children, and what do? You're supposed to be emotionally available, console her, try to make sure she's okay, but instead you were losing your temper, and this was what made her go into the whole, crazy phase, the insanity phase she experienced and all that. And that was because the man was also not there emotionally. So like, the father was a whole lot. That man, the only thing he knew how to do was discipline his kids, and outside that, he didn't know how to connect with them, and it's a problem. So I think this is also another call for us as young people to do better as parents, because these books we read actually show loopholes in parenting styles, in the way in communication with kids and all that. And really, the man was he was an absent dad after he moved to Yola. Just imagine how their life changed within 1 year. This whole thing happened within a year. It really shows that every child needs their parents, especially their fathers. Boys need their fathers so much. And I can never forget this story I read in a long time. So I don't know, we don't have time, but the last question I had was actually almost going to make everybody talk. But I think let me just still ask it. So my last question is, because it's really going to be unfair if we talk about all these things and we do not get to touch this part, because this was what the essence of the book was about. So my last question is already on the chat box. Which moment in the novel broke your heart the most, and why? How did you respond emotionally to the way the brothers' lives spiraled? Like, which moment in the novel broke your heart the most? I have a lot of the moments, like a lot of it. So Lambert, let's hear from you.
Thank you so much. I won't make it long at all. A lot of the moments, like you say, but the most heartbreaking one was do you know that all this while, I know this author, though it's a sad book, but he's a master of storytelling. Because the way he told us this story about Boja, I thought that Boja was in one backyard and will now come outside.
Me too. Me too.
He was even saying that maybe he finally decided to show up after he pitied our mother. He finally decided, I say, thank God, at least it's only one son that this woman lost. Hey! It broke my heart so
I
much when he said that
think
Boja was in the
it.
well. What kind of thing is that? Oh my God. Even
My
when
God.
Ikenna died, in a way, I don't know if I'm being brutal, but I didn't pity Ikenna so much.
Me
His
too.
reception of that prophecy was very bad. As it almost made me feel as if he didn't even love his brothers from the beginning. Why the
Yeah.
sudden turn around like that? But Boja's death pained me so much. And then the next heartbreaking one was Benjamin going to prison. It was so heartbreaking. Because to me, he's the most sane, psychologically sane brother. All of them have issue. Ikenna was hot tempered. Obembe had a proclivity to be very obsessed about things. He was always extra and too nosy. And then if you are too nosy, you find out what you shouldn't find out that will disrupt your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Boja wasn't as firm as he should have been. I feel like Boja let Ikenna get away with a lot of things till it escalated. This Benjamin was my favorite, the most sane, cool-headed brother that actually considered consequences before doing things. But they just sent him to prison just like that. But the top was definitely Boja's body floating on the well. That was unexpected. My God.
Thank you so much, Lambert. To me, that was like the most heartbreaking scene. You know, when, like, okay, I don't know. This writer, like you said, is a master of words. First of all, Divine, I'm coming. You're going to say something, but let me say what I want to say. Okay, so first of all, I don't know if you remember when Ben said that when his mother said no, two is enough, that three of them shouldn't go out that night to buy drugs, two is enough, that it gave him a foresight of the future. Like he said that now when he remembers that word, two is enough, it shakes him. So in a way, it's as if I had a premonition that two people were going to die from the book, but I did not expect it was going to be Ikenna and Boja. Now when he was now saying Boja came in, finally had pity on their mother, showed up, that day, I was expecting he was going to walk into the sitting room or not, and then they said they found his body. I was imagining, at some point I said, are you sure Ikenna did not kill Boja, push him into the well, and then run back inside and stabbed himself? Because I don't understand, why would he suddenly die? But after everything, I realized that yes, it was actually easier to die than to live with the guilt. Because even if your parents forgive you because they know how Ikenna had been all this while, you will not be able to live with the guilt and the glances people are going to cast on you for being that person who killed your brother. So like I actually understand his, and it was really sad. So let's hear from Divine, then more quotes, and then Daniel, and we will end it for tonight. Thank you so much, guys. So Divine, let's take.
Okay, I'll
So
try to
Divine,
be quick.
let's hear.
So first of all, I really, really want to commend this guy's writing style. I loved it. I was hooked from the beginning to the end. And one of the things I liked was how he related every oh Jesus Christ, how he related every event to something that happened before, like when Boja died, and how that well was where he had found a bed dead in that well.
So Daniel, let's hear from you and let's wrap up for tonight.
Okay, left for me, the author was indeed an epic storyteller. Yeah, I loved the book a lot, and I could actually relate to the book because I think there was a time something of this sort happened between me and my brother, kind of like that. So yeah, at some point I started crying while reading the book, but it's a lot. I just commend the author. The author is indeed epic. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you. Divine, do you still have something to say, or your hand is just up from the previous time you spoke?
Oh,
Divine.
okay. Let me just say finally that you were saying that you were talking about what we need to do, like when we become parents and all that. And I added that we should also learn to allow people express their emotions, because I feel that if um those children, Umbele and Ben, were allowed to express how they felt with the passing of their brothers, some of the things that happened may not have happened if
Yeah.
they were able to open up and say, oh, I feel this way or I feel that way, or they gathered together as a family and talked about it and spoke about it. They wouldn't have harbored that resent, especially Mbele, I don't know how to pronounce the name. He wouldn't have harbored that thought in his, maybe he would have not harbored that thought in his mind. It may have helped. So, but as a society, I feel like we keep trying to make people suppress their emotions. Oh, don't cry. Oh, you're a man. I don't like to hear that thing. I hate it so much. You're a man, so you shouldn't cry. Please. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Divine. Thank you. And I agree with that. I think suppressing emotions sometimes it escalates situations more than it fixes it. Because I think, I don't know, the dad I think he did a crappy work. He did a very crappy job. He should have done better. I expected better from him. And although, yeah, at some point he started becoming, soft towards the wife, telling him, "Wunyem, how are we going to do this? Let's get through this together and all." But me, at that point, I was feeling like it was already late because the woman was already losing her mind. This is something he would have done that first time, like that moment this thing happened. They should come together and, get through it. I don't pray for this to happen to me or anything, but if I ever find myself in that situation in the future where I lose a child or something that precious to me, I think in everything I'm going to do is going to try to work hand in hand with my partner to make sure that we get through it together, not the opposite way, avoiding each other, doing all because it breaks the family much more easier. Like silence, subduing feelings can break a family way, way quickly than any other thing. So I think we learned a lot from this story. Excellent story, excellent writing, but very sad story. Very, very sad story. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on today's review. I remain your host, Olivia. Thank you guys for your wonderful inputs.
Don't forget to hit the follow button and tap on the notification icon to stay updated. That's all for today's episode. To join our book club or stay updated on future discussions, follow us on Instagram and X at Jollof Book Club, Jollof with a double F. And thank you so much for listening.